want you to see that the pain is like just yesterday.
The anguish is still very raw for Derek Francique, whose son Jamal was fatally shot by Peel police just over 2 years ago. Ontario's police watchdog cleared the officer involved of criminal charges last year. And now the family lawyer tells City News a complaint has been filed with the Office of the Independent Police Review Director, saying they want answers.
Realistically, for me, there will never be any justice. Accountability, yes. I'm looking for that.
The shooting happened back in 2020 near the Mississauga townhouse complex where Jamal Francique lived with his mother. According to the Special Investigations report, police had the 28-year-old under ongoing surveillance, adding that they had information he was allegedly drug trafficking and in possession of a firearm, claims that have not been confirmed.
They painted my son out to be some career criminal or some big time criminal, and my son is not a criminal at all. And I wanted to be known that Jamal was a victim in this kind of situation here.
The report notes that police claim Francique was observed traveling to a number of locations and was in violation of his bail. A decision was made to arrest him that evening.
You've taken the measures of taking down a kingpin.
They had options, but they used excessive force, the worst option.
Plainclothed officers from Peel's Vice Narcotics Unit surrounded Francique's Acura with unmarked vehicles. The report states as Francique reversed his vehicle, hemmed in between cop cars, nearby officers exited. Guns were drawn and pointed at the Acura. And they say Francique accelerated forward, striking and moving past one vehicle. An officer jumped out of the way to avoid being struck, and another officer fired a weapon 4 times in the direction of the driver's seat. Francique was shot in the head and died 3 days later in hospital.
Mr. Francique would have seen figures in the dark coming at him with guns drawn. He would have been terrified and potentially tried to leave the scene. They decided to create a covert operation and attempt to block him in, to use spikes on his tires.
Peel police tell City News they're unable to comment until the OIPRD investigation has concluded. The SIU report says an officer seized a firearm from Francique at the time of his arrest. The lawyers say there are inconsistencies with the investigation.
The first time any firearm was ever mentioned was when the SIU released their final decision.
Nia Singh and the family called on the SIU to reopen their investigation, saying there were factual errors and inconsistencies. The SIU tells City News, quote, Mr. Singh's report was carefully considered and found to contain no evidence or theory of culpability capable of supporting reasonable grounds to believe any police officer committed a criminal offense in connection with Mr. Francique's death.
Please, I beg of you to give my son a fair chance in court to be heard.
For City News, I'm Faiza Amin.